Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Proactive Social Impact LinkedIn Live, Monday, July 22nd, 2024, featuring Dr. Kanan Van Williams, the Managing Director of the Proactive Social Impact Funds. My name is Bill Houston, and I'm the founder of CrowdMax, a real estate crowdfunding marketing strategy consulting agency. Dr. Van, welcome, and please introduce yourself.
Yes. Hi. Thank you for that introduction, Mr. Bill. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you're fine.
Okay. Yes. So my name is Dr. Kanan Van Williams of the Proactive Realty Income Funds, and we're a social impact fund company, and this is my 25th year in real estate. Uh, and I'm happy to be here on Monday, July 22nd, to talk about SRO housing and the HUD single room occupancy program, and also the single room occupancy program that Proactive currently has.
Absolutely. So, with that being said, what is the primary goal of HUD's single room um, SRO program, and give us a little background and detail on what SRO actually is.
Okay. Yes, sir. So the primary goal of the HUD SRO program is to provide affordable housing to homeless or formerly homeless individuals by converting existing buildings into single use occupancy, single room occupancy, which can, more officially been converted to say converting to multifamily apartment buildings. Uh, Here at Proactive, we generally use existing structures that are motels, previous motels that were shut down that have a large enough, decent sized room, living area. A single room occupancy is a living area, a kitchenette that may be in a living area, and a restroom. So think of something that may be slightly smaller than a studio apartment uh, in an older building, or more than likely a building built pre 1985.
Great. Can you explain the role of public housing agencies in the SRO program?
Yes, the HUD. So public housing agencies and HUD SRO program provide stable, affordable housing based on income. Usually, no more than 30% of a person's income, whatever that may be, whether it be working income, provided they meet certain guidelines and don't make above a certain amount, and also um, if they receive like a subsidy, whether it be Social Security, SSI, veterans benefits, social service agency benefits, it's capped at 30% of a person's income. So SRO, HUD SRO programs allow stable, affordable housing, which is a critical step in helping the most vulnerable of our population, the most low income, helping individuals transition out of homelessness. This stability allows residents to focus on other aspects of their lives, such as employment, health, personal development, sobriety, um, and housing security.
Great. So you had mentioned a little bit earlier that the proactive social impact has actually done, one or two of these projects. Can you tell us what's involved in the moderate rehabilitation of residential properties under the SRO program?
So moderate rehabilitation involves making necessary repairs, improvements to existing residential properties or to a motel type structure to make them suitable for single room occupancy. So it includes things like we update electrical, plumbing systems, ensure compliance with safety codes, and we make the units livable, habitable, install security cameras, a lot of lighting to make sure that people can see when you're coming home at night, and more lighting makes it a lot more safer for the residents.
Great. So, what types of properties are typically converted into these SRO units?
They can be like former office buildings, uh, um, a lot of former office buildings, a lot of existing SROs that were either shut down or abandoned or not well kept, that have a lot of deferred maintenance. And again, your average neighborhood motel can be easily converted into an SRO or updated and renovated for SROs. For SRO housing, single room occupancy, meaning, and you asked me to explain it before, and I apologize, I kind of glossed over it. So a true SRO property typically is, think of, are you familiar with the term Jack and Jill bathroom? So there's two rooms on each, a room on each side, and in the middle there's a restroom. And typically the doors lock on each side for privacy. SROs of the old days had just, you go in, you have a sink, microwave, bed, small refrigerator, and that's it. And there'd be an adjoining Jack and Jill restroom. Some SRO properties have what's called an in-suite bathroom. That means that they have their own bathroom, microwave, small refrigerator, and a sink. However, a lot of more updated SROs that are in motels, depending on the age of the motels, have pretty large rooms that can accommodate up to two people, maybe a small child, or just a single individual.
Okay, great. So what are the benefits of the SRO program for landlords, and then by extension, investors?
Okay. Benefits for landlords mainly are consistent rental income, guaranteed payments from hub subsidies, reduced vacancy rates, and the being able to contribute to society as a whole by providing housing, which is much needed, and stability for the residents.
And how does Section 8 rental assistance work with the SRO program?
The same as previously stated. So Section 8 in the SRO space helps cover a portion of the rent for eligible individuals, making it affordable for low-income tenants. Section 8 guidelines are 30% of income, and assistance is paid directly to the landlord through a direct deposit or a check on behalf of the resident.
So how do homeless individuals apply for housing through the SRO program?
It varies. They need to work with, excuse me, they need to work with a local provider. Quite often we get referrals from those who are formerly homeless. So like through a homeless shelter, they'll have a case manager or social worker. They have to meet certain guidelines to sign up. There are programs aside from SRO housing where people can sign up for low income housing depending on when those lists open up. They tend to have really long waiting lists, really long wait times. However, we've had people to come into proactive has had people to come into properties that come from homeless situations because they went through the process, they were vetted, they met program guidelines, agreed to abide by rules, agreed to monthly inspections, agreed to to be productive, not cause problems, and to foster a community environment and where they live.
That's great. So the next is going to be kind of a follow-up question to that. What is the impact of the SRO program on local communities?
SRO programs, for the most part, tend to positively impact local communities because they reduce homelessness, blight by revitalizing older buildings, fostering a sense of community and stability among residents.
How does the SRO program align with other HUD initiatives to combat homelessness?
The SRO program aligns with HUD initiatives by providing critical housing support, which is a foundational element in a comprehensive effort to combat homelessness, including services for employment, health, social integration, housing security, and being able to meet the needs of the most vulnerable. We also, I know at Proactive, we also work with the mental health population, as long as, as their case managed, and have follow-up.
Great. Here's another follow-up question to that. Can you discuss any success stories or case studies from the SRO program that you've actually had with proactive social impact funds?
Yes. So we have five studio and one bedroom apartments in Rancho, Las Vegas, at that particular property, and we've had great success with working with social services with the referrals that people come in. They've been given second chance housing. Some of them have former evictions. Some of them were not med compliant. What that means is they may have had some mental health challenges and not been actively on their medication. And they've had success in having a stable place to live where they can, take public transportation or drive to appointments, to employment, to doctor's appointments, and to get the essential services that are needed to maintain housing. It goes, way beyond just having a roof over your head. Being able to have the internet and just access for a lot of people that, it's just the importance of having access in addition to that housing. Which brings me to my next real quick point is that Proactive will also be launching a nonprofit, Proactive Initiatives, the Proactive Foundation, for housing, transportation, for other needs that, we can assist the public at large, as well as some of our residents with.
What are some of the challenges that are faced when implementing an SRO program?
Some of the challenges can be adequate funding, compliance with HUD and local regulations, suitable properties addressing needs of residents who may need additional support services. However, we're very careful in our properties to make certain that they're followed either by case management, social worker, some type of consistent support system that's healthy for the resident so that they can be successful in their housing.
So tell us a little bit more about the funding process for SROs, and even a little bit about how proactive social impact funds are going about funding these SRO projects.
Yes, good question. So funding is typically allocated by HUD based on the needs of local communities, capacity of PHAs, and to effectively administer the program. It is managed through contracts between HUD and program housing advisors, so that people can get in. However, at Proactive, ours are mostly through our public housing agencies. Our funding comes through investors. I know I'm invested in a fund personally, and when investors come in, we're able to purchase properties and start to renovate them, or improve them, upgrade them, so that people can move in as quickly as possible. So we don't do a whole lot of ground up or start from scratch type projects. We typically try to go into projects that have at least 30 to 50 to 75% occupancy.
Great. How does the SRO program address the specific needs of demographics such as veterans or people with disabilities?
The SR program often includes specific initiatives or partnerships with agencies and organizations that focus on the unique need of people with disabilities, other vulnerable populations, and quite often they tailor those they tailor what, they address the needs very specifically of certain demographics, and depending on who it is that they partner with, and what funding is currently in place or what funding is available.
Okay, what are some of the measures that are in place to ensure the safety and quality of SRO housing?
Okay, some of the measures include regular inspections, compliance with local building codes, adherence to HUD's housing quality standards to ensure safety and habitability, and and especially the local ordinances and standards.
What are the typical rent levels for SROs compared to other affordable housing options? And I know that's going to vary depending on where you are in the country, but kind of just in general.
In general, anywhere from $700 to $1,000 per month. Because an SRO, oh, I forgot to include this in the description when you asked me earlier about what a excuse me, sorry about that. About what ask the question again. Oh, about the rents.
What are the typical rent levels for SROs units compared to other affordable housing units?
Oh,
And I know that's going to vary based on, where you are in the country, but kind of just in general.
so in general, they're typically lower than other affordable housing options, making them more accessible to individuals with very low incomes. One of the reasons the income, the rates tend to be lower is because it's a studio. So it's not a 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. A SRO is just what that is, a single room occupancy. For whether it be a single person, although we're finding a lot more families who are homeless are living in SRO properties because it's safer, and they're free of the elements. A lot of people who have slept in cars or live in little small campers prefer an SRO for the safety, convenience. That it's lower, that it's for the lower income, and it allows them to be able to prepare to transition to something more long term. Oh,
How does the
excuse me.
moderate rehabilitation process impact the timeline for converting or creating an SRO unit to bring it to its availability to the market?
Moderate rehabilitation process can extend the timeline for making SRO units available due to the time needed for renovations, ensuring compliance with safety and quality standards. However, at Proactive, we work really diligently to get properties up and moving as fast as we possibly can. We have a new product we're going to be rolling out that will be as we'll call an SRO unit. It'll be like not a condominium, but more like we have to call it by law, because it's not a HUD code house. However, it's more of a shared dominium. It's outfitted, insulated, and can accommodate more than 1 or 2 people on an SRO basis. And that's just what's needed right now in the marketplace for housing. But back to SROs in general, in our pipeline, we have 150 units of SRO housing that are motels in Las Vegas that currently house people. However, they are in dire need of upgrades, a new roof, new windows. A couple of the properties have block windows. Excuse me, they have code violations, and those are in our pipeline. And purchase them quickly, improve them, renovate them, and fix them up.
Okay, for our last 2 questions here, and then we'll open up the floor for some questions from our audience.
Okay.
How can communities advocate for the expansion of the SRO program in their area?
So great question. So they can advocate for expansion by engaging with local government officials, participation in public meetings, collaborating with organizations that support affordable housing initiatives, and in the bottom line, the main way people get involved is that they care and that they not be against affordable housing or quote unquote not in my backyard or not down the street or not around the corner or I don't want my property values lower. Is that they participate, collaborate, and educate themselves on a product. Number one answer, I'd say, is education. To educate, learn, know what it is, uh, know the agencies that are involved in a project. Not all agencies are the best, whether they be for profit or nonprofit. To know the mission of the agency, to know the reputation of the agency who administers the program, or if there's an SRO property, to go by, introduce themselves to the manager, or what's going on. If the SRO property is amenable to that, and again, to know thy neighbor and to know what's going on and be part of the process.
So for our last questions before we open this up to our audience, what role does community feedback play in the success of SROs?
Community feedback is crucial, Mr. Bill. It's very important for identifying the needs and concerns of the residents, improving program implementation, its efficacy, meaning, its desired outcome, ensuring that projects effectively serve the community.
Okay, great. So thank you, Dr. Van, for this insightful LinkedIn Live today. So I'd like to open up, to the audience. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, just come off of mute and just ask your question.
Hello.
Yes, William, just come off mute and
Yep.
ask your question.
Hello. Good afternoon to you both.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for having this.
Yes,
So,
sir.
and I've had this discussion with Mr. Bill before. Just the thought of what it would be like to actually get into real estate investment, and so I hadn't heard about SROs until today. This is actually very informative. And I do have a heart for social impacts. But I also know that money is an option, right? Money is an object. So with that being the case, I know that a lot of real estate investment is very front heavy, and a lot it has to do with a lot of capex on the front end. Um,
Mhm.
are there programs that and I may have just missed it. I was a little late. Are there programs that you know of that can help subsidize the front end construction, um, as opposed to just traditional funding mechanisms? Are there other like programs that help on the front end?
Yes, great questions. Yes, there are some programs. Uh, I'm not sure, I forgot the exact name but the government through SBA, they have some programs. There are also, if you establish a nonprofit, there's also grant money, that grant funds that can be available for an SRO, existing project, potential projects, um, and then demonstrated need grants. So it's best to check with local cities and governments and to in the area that you're thinking about and to see exactly what's available. Sometimes you may even use private money just to get into a place until you can get it refinanced with lower debt, so that you don't miss an opportunity.
Interesting. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next question here, Miss Graves, and then we'll get to you, Mr. Crawford.
Hi, thank you, Bill. How are you?
You're right. Let me act like I do know you, Lashonda. How you doing? Good to hear from you.
You as well. I do have a question for about the SROs. Now, I'm very familiar with the SROs because the extended stay. I'm doing a big report on extended stays because most of these evicted families are finding themselves in extended stays, and they're paying about $2,500 a month just to stay in that
Yes,
extended
they
stay.
are.
Um, with the SROs, is the qualifications to get into an apartment, because I know SROs are just like studios. I mean, it's a studio apartment. Is the qualifications the same, or do they have lenient qualifications to help those because they need to get into a SRO? And I also want to know about the capacity. What about the occupancy capacity? Because these families, when they're in these extended stay Americas, or not even just extended stay Americas, the extended stay industry has, they've seen a boom. So many are popping up. But when they're in these extended stays, there's no real occupancy um, restriction. So I'm finding a mother with 5 children, in these quote unquote extended stay SROs. But then regular rentals, they're a little bit different. So can you, two questions. The qualifications, is it the same as renting a regular apartment? And the occupancy laws. Are there any occupancy laws that would prevent a mother with 5 children renting a studio to live?
Uh, okay, so second question first. Not that I'm aware of. And the reason I say that is because each locale is different and have ordinances. However, I have not seen one instance where even if the ordinance is, you know what, by law, there should only be 2 to 3 people, 2 people per room. I think it's one of the federal guidelines, I believe. However, as it relates to SRO properties, there tend not to be a very specific guideline about SRO occupancy. As it relates to getting into an SRO, it's about the same as like an extended stay. You come, you present your identification. There's no credit check. There may sometimes be a background check depending on where you're at. Usually that'll be posted, like in Las Vegas, Nevada, for example. It's just a standard practice for SRO motel properties that sometimes they have a system that they'll put your name in to see if you have like an active warrant, or you're like a fugitive of that nature. However, it's not so much a background check. Credit wise, no. And the SROs are either weekly or monthly, so there's a lot of flexibility there, and they tend to be much cheaper than an extended stay. However, be a quality room, no bugs, clean, AC or heat, insulated, have a television, a small kitchenette area, uh, and all the same, accoutrements or, amenities that there would be in extended stay. It may not be as large of a room or as modern, uh, but they'll still be clean and decent.
Oh, that's great news. It kind of remind me of apartels. And in Europe, they do what you call apartels. It's almost like a hotel and an apartment, but the leases are shorter, weekly, monthly, and the prices are lower than a normal extended stay. So yeah, that's awesome. Where are you located?
We're based in Orangeburg, South Carolina, Chicago, Illinois, and Las Vegas, Nevada. Our portfolio of SRO properties that we'll be going into are that we're in contract for are located in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Very informative. Thank you.
And Miss Graves, where are you at on LinkedIn?
LaShondra Graves, or you can find me under the apartment lady. Just type in apartment lady, the apartment lady, it'll pop up.
Okay. All right. I certainly will. Apartment lady.
Um,
Yeah, I'd like to
hey,
know more about your report.
I'm actually, I split it up. I just did 5 newsletter articles on it. I'm going to be finishing up the report in August, the physical report, but I've been giving people tidbits on LinkedIn today. I've been doing it every Monday around 7:30 p.m. So I'm doing part 5 today. It's where are they now?
All right. All right, so very interesting. I'll do my best to attend. You send an invite. All right, and then we have a question in the chat, Mr. Bill, and thank you very much, Ms. Graves.
Okay, and it's just a newsletter article, so you can just read it.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is a question from Mr. Crawford, and it says, how accessible are the bathroom, kitchen, and shared spaces managed on the SRO model?
Great question. Some of the shared spaces are in the much older SRO properties. Our SRO properties that we're in contract for in our pipeline, there's no shared spaces. Total privacy. You have your own kitchenette, 2-burner, stove, refrigerator, living area, shower, bathroom, traditional bathrooms. So ours are not shared spaces. There are some shared spaces that are SROs. I'm not a big fan of those. I just don't think they're the most safe environment, especially if you have kids. And as you know, we have some parents who will just send their kids down the hall to the restroom unattended or what have you. But we haven't seen one of those in a long time, the shared space SRO.
Gotcha. No, I was definitely interested in that because being originally from the Philadelphia market, I thought this was similar to some of like the one-room rentals that kind of grew up seeing. And thanks for going into detail and explaining that. And Bill, I actually was invited by Miss Denise Lawrence, who's working with us on a project in Gwinnett County, where we have 10 acres and we're looking to develop multi-dwelling units as well as condos, and then specifically for veterans, we're looking at the tiny home model. So just hearing some of the information is kind of just gathering information to kind of see what the potential is with this model, see if it would or could play into what we're looking to do, and interested in just kind of making connections to see if there's a way to incorporate other organizations into our nonprofit that may be able to kind of help facilitate some of the systems that we're looking to implement.
Yeah, absolutely. Greatly appreciate that. So what I did, if you look into the chat, is I put in the YouTube channel for Proactive Social Impact and a website for Proactive Social Impact. And then you can definitely check us out on LinkedIn. We're there every day. We do this at 12:30 every Monday and Friday with Dr. Van. And there are some opportunities, through crowdfunding to actually invest in some of these properties as well. So check out the website, check out our YouTube. Everybody subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow us. As again, we do this every Monday and Friday at 12:30.
Thank you. Sounds good.
Any closing words for us, Dr. Van?
Just like to say the importance of SRO housing is very important and shouldn't be overlooked. Affordable housing and being part of the solution. We can identify the problem, as much as we want to. However, the reality is that there are a lot of people who are very vulnerable, who need second chance housing, who need people that are compassionate, empathetic, and willing to give someone a second chance, and willing to follow through with the process, work with social services or case management or the housing authority, or residents that may have some challenges, however, have support. So that's all I'd like to say. And you put the website in the chat, so keep coming back to the website for more updates. And thank you very much.
Yep. Follow us on YouTube and LinkedIn as well. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. Hopefully, we'll see you guys on LinkedIn through our comments, and see you on YouTube. Have a great day, and thank you, everyone.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you.